Hi, I'm Liv, and welcome to the first episode of Girl vs. Motorcycle. Two reasons I decided to do this series. One is I ride with a lot of women, and I found that some of them are afraid to wrench on their own motorcycle. And funny enough, they're kind of impressed that I do, which is weird to me because I'm not a mechanic. Auto, motorcycle, ATV, like nothing really. No mechanical skills, no mechanics skills whatsoever. Um, but I just enjoy getting my hands dirty and learning about my bike and also saving a few bucks. Doesn't hurt anybody, right? So over the last few years, I've changed my oil, changed my brake pads, flushed my brake fluid, flushed my coolant. I've also even changed both my tires, which getting the tires on and off the bike is easy. It's getting the tires on the wheels that's kind of a pain. But I figure things out. But, what I tell people all the time, I said, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. And if you're not comfortable doing it, don't do it. But the thing you should have when you get your bike is your trusty service manual. This book has detailed instructions on how to do all kinds of maintenance, like to very heavy detail, like take your clutch apart, engine cam stuff that I don't think I'm going to do, to basically changing your brake pads and you're flushing your coolant and all that stuff. The great thing about having your service manual as well is great for torque settings and part numbers, especially for Harleys. I'll have all the Harley part numbers in there. If you're looking for something, you go, hey, I need to get this, blah, blah, blah. So they're great to have. And also, you can't find them through Harley, eBay. I got this on eBay. That's why it's falling apart. Now it's in a binder. But still good. I always tell my friends to get, when they get another bike, it's like, get the service manual for it. It'll come in handy. Um, but yeah, everything you can do with basic tools in your garage. The most complicated thing you are going to have is a torque wrench. And it's not that complicated. Also not that expensive. And, you know, it's fun, to get your hands dirty with your bike. Speaking of bike, the second reason I wanted to do this is Duchess here. Duchess is a 2010 Harley-Davidson V-Rod muscle. What makes the muscle a little different from the other V-Rods is tiny, tiny, tiny aesthetics. The LED turn signals, the integrated fender with the integrated LED light, and the dual exhaust. And what the tendency I kind of find is that because of these little minute differences, it's a little hard to find accessories and fun stuff for Duchess. So, on top of that, it's also hard to find detailed videos and instructions about how to take the wheel off. What's the best way to do this? What's the best way to do that? So, in all the research that I've done over the years and stuff like that, I've just kind of compiled all this information. So I figured, hey, why not share it with you guys? If I'm looking for it, somebody else is looking for it. So I'm going to help you, whoever you are. The other thing that's great is that this spawned a whole nother idea, kind of have an Instagram going as well, at Girl vs. Motorcycle, which is basically all my commentary and opinions about motorcycle-related things that we do, plus cool things I may have found for Duchess or for other bikes as well. My favorite thing being I found this sissy bar a long time ago, from Jin's Choppers. Love you. So I'm just here to share information, what I have for the bike, for any ladies out there, for guys too. This is going to be geared towards anybody that wants to work on their bike and maybe not feeling like they can or not. Because I'm really, all I know is how to read. That's it. So I figure I'll share that with you. Because of that, too, I know there's probably some people who may watch this and go, listen, I know about this and I know about that. I just want to see how you do it on that particular brake caliper or something like that. So I have all my videos are broken down in 2 chapters, and I'll try to keep the details in the description so you can skip ahead. You don't want to hear me rambling on about my opinion on brake pads. I'd be surprised if anybody does, but it's there if you want to. And you can skip ahead. So this is for every skill level, every patience level, We're trying something new over here. So hopefully you enjoy it. And how about today? We do change some brake pads. Sound good? Okay, let's go. Checking the brake pads. First things first, we have to check if our brake pads need changing. What you want to do is get up under the caliper so you can see the underside of the pad. What you're looking for are wear lines like this one. You may need a flashlight to see it better, and some of the pads have more than one line. Either way, if the notch is really small or completely gone, it's time to change the pads. All right, for this particular project, tools that you will need is Phillips head screwdriver or a Ford one. I use Ford one there. Big old flathead, a socket wrench of some sort, your good old handy torque wrench. Torque wrenches are important. We've talked about those. Okay, also 5mm hex and a 12-point 10mm for brake. Those are specific to my bike. Yours might be different. Those are specific to a VRAD. Contact cleaner to clean some of the parts, and box of rags. Always good to have. Okay, so putting your bike on the wheel chock is pretty simple. But if you don't have somebody to help you, that's where it gets a little iffy. What's nice is that we have two 20-pound bags of rocks that my husband has in the house. So I use that to hold my wheel chock down to keep it from sliding. And it's also great for taking the bike off, because getting it on is actually pretty easy. So, do this. Turn your bike on, all that fun stuff. Pretty easy. Just make sure your wheel's lined, straight, ready to go in there. You may have to get a couple tries to get on there, but once you get on, it's pretty simple. Let's give it a shot. Easy peasy. So, brake pads. Just a reminder, I am a nerd. I like to read things and research items. I research electronics, anything that goes on my bike, I look really deep into. I am not a professional. I'm not a Harley tech, not even a bike mechanic. I'm not even an auto mechanic. I just like to work with my hands and learn about what I'm doing. So I'm just sharing this knowledge with you. So let me tell you what I've read and learned about brake pads recently. There's basically three types of brake pads. There's sintered, organic, and ceramic. Sintered is probably your most common one. It's the one a lot of manufacturers use. Your Harley brake pads. Sintered. Sintered means there's metal particles and they fuse them together. And they're built to last. They are built for hard use, aggressive use, beat them up, all that stuff. It's definitely not saying that like other brake pads are crappy and can't last. I mean, I would hope they're brake pads. They keep us safe. Nobody's going to sell them to us if they don't work. That's rude. It's just this is the most common type. This is what we know. Because it's metal on metal, most of your rotors are stainless steel. There are other types of rotors. That's a deep dive. It took me forever to get off the computer. But most of your rotors are stainless steel. So you're talking metal on metal. So your bite's going to be more aggressive. It's going to be more grippy, more on your bite because it's metal on metal. It's super metal. But the thing is, because it's metal on metal, it's going to wear down your rotors eventually. Now, when I say that, it doesn't mean, oh my God, these sintered brake pads are terrible because my rotors are going to get damaged. No, it's something that happens over time. Your rotors are going to get worn down over time no matter what. And it takes a long time. Just with sintered brake pads, it's going to happen sooner than with organic brake pads. No big deal. Still long-lasting thing. Trying to give you the information here. Organic brake pads are particles that are fused together with resin. They just softer. I was like, I gotta reading this online and going off what I remember what I read. There's softer brake pads. You'll feel it too. You'll feel the difference. If you go from a center to an organic brake pad, you'll be like, my brakes feel weird. Are they as grippy? There's a bike stop. Hey, they're doing their job. Organic, most common I think blend is carbon Kevlar. A lot of these materials can deal with high heat because the whole point of brakes and things is high heat. If you have a material that can't handle high heat, then you're just going to fall apart. So yes, carbon Kevlar, resin, softer materials. It's that progressive. They say there's a progressive feel as opposed to an aggressive feel when you brake. Progressive feel. The first thing I thought of is I just took the MSF advanced course recently. The theory is progressive squeeze on your brakes. Progressive. You want to come to slow stop, not grab. Kind of that feeling. Nice squeeze on your thing, but it grips it just like it does on a center brake pad. So it's nice stuff. Third one, I didn't get too deep dive on, but ceramic. Ceramics is what they use in racing because ceramic can handle some high heat. Personally, trying to find them for my bike, I didn't really see anything. And also, when you do, they're expensive. They're nice that they're out there. Like I said, I didn't do too much research, so I don't know what their effect on the rotors are. Oh, by the way, going back a step to organic. The thing about organic and rotors is that, yes, your rotors last longer, but because they're softer brake pads, you will change them more often. Now, don't think that changing them more often means you're going to change your brake pads, oh my God, all the time. No. Brake pads still last a decent amount of time. They're still average. Like I couldn't tell you what the average is. The brake pads I have on the front now that I'm changing, well over a year ago, and they probably have some more life on them if you saw from your guideline. But I wanted to change them because the brand I bought before, they are organic, but the brand I bought before, they were super dusty and they make my wheels really dirty, and I'm just like, I want to change them. I changed the ones in the back a while ago because they need changing. I had a tech tell me once, you will change your back brake pads sooner than your front brake pads. And that's for those of us who use the rear brake. Supposed to use both brake, people. I'm also a safety nerd. I'm sorry, you will learn this if this goes on. So I'm changing my brake pads to the Lindells. They are an American family owned and operated company, which is points up. They are also super popular for aftermarket Harley brake pads. So premium Harley brake pads, which I'm surprised because usually for Duchess doesn't get a lot of Harley parts. Even though it says Harley Davidson, but that's another story for another time. So yes, going with the Lindells. Gonna try these out. Actually, wait, I've had them on the back. Fantastic. So let's put them on the front. Anything else about brake pads? There's several other. Obviously, there's many companies that do many things. It looks like the Bike Bandit said the most common are your Lindells, EBC. EBC is a cool website if you want to look at some cool rotors. Just saying. Who else? Bike Master. Those are. But if brake pads are one of those things. You need them to stop. That's what's important. If there's nothing wrong with going to Harley and going, give me brake pads for my bike, and they'll give you brake pads for your bike. If you want to look elsewhere, do your research. Do what I do. Look online. If you don't want to do your research and you don't want to go to Harley and buy their expensive brake pads, hey, here's my recommendation. Buy these Lindells. There, done. Research over. Just make sure you get the one that matches your bike. Yes, they're very common brands for common sizes across many Harley-Davidson lines. But just double check because sometimes there's little things. Like I know mine has the little, that just one of these, and I've seen some Harleys that have two of the holes. So see, now you know I'm not a professional. Holes. So do your research. Find out what you want to do. That's it for my brake pad education. Let's change some brake pads. Okay, one of the first things you want to make sure you do is loosen the cap off your brake fluid reservoir for your front brake. The thing is, you will be pushing on the brake pad, the brake caliper pistons. So when you do that, fluid's going to push out and overflow. Now, make sure you take the time to do something like this. Put a towel over your bike on the side of it, because brake fluid ruins paint. Guess what? So far, haven't had that problem. Very proud of myself. But I also don't want to find out. So I make sure anytime I work with this stuff, I cover it now, because you don't want stuff falling in your brake fluid reservoir either. I have a tendency to just loosen it. So the cover's still on there, but stuff can seep out if you're pushing too hard. And also, if you leave the screws in the cap like that, you won't lose them. But at least loosen it, so that when you start pushing and stuff comes out. And then it could just throw freely onto the floor. Protect your, it's your garage floor. If you want to protect it, fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I like leaving the cap on, because I don't want random stuff flying in there. It is a garage. My husband does do woodwork. I need sawdust in my brake fluid. Good. That's good. Cool. Okay, so there's your brake caliper. I'm going to work on the side that has the ABS sensor. Not everybody has ABS sensors, but I do. Just because you want to be a little bit more careful with it and keep an eye on it and not let it drop. Like it's not glass delicate, but just want to keep an eye on it. So I just want to make sure everybody sees that. For you V-Rod muscle owners that are looking at this, trying to get sizes and things like that, this bolt is a 12-point star bolt, 10 millimeter. I was able to find the socket at Lowe's once. Super lucky for me. I found it the hard way. I'm here to give you the answer so you don't have to look for it. So easy. So there you go. Wrench, lefty-loosey, for newbies. Very important. Now go, and then go for it. And if you use a proper torque wrench to torque it on there, yeah, it's going to take some time to break that. But it's okay. I'll probably run into my pedal. Oh, speaking of pedals, super important note while I'm taking these bolts off. When you're working on your brake pads, make sure nobody comes in to help you and starts squeezing your brake lever. Just because it can cause the pistons, you got fluid all over the place. It's just a general disaster. So don't touch it. Right now we're working on the clutch side, so I'm not even gonna have a remote possibility in our brake pedal, because I'm not gonna stand up and run into it. But keep that in mind. Stay away from your brake lever on the front, your brake pedal on the back, that kind of thing. So I got these loose. Take these off. Nice pretty bolts. Now, brake caliper bolts don't need Loctite. No blue. None of that stuff. I don't think, right? No. Just kidding. Here's your ABS sensor. Yep. See, and basically it connects, it's right here. It's in between the axle bolt in here. So you just want to make sure like that goes back there, but don't do anything to it. A lot of times, here, there's a nice little clip here. You can unclip it. Now you can move it out of the way freely. Here's your brake caliper. And a little wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. There you go. Boom! Brake caliper. Yay! It's in your hands. It's fantastic. That's off. There you go. And here's your cover. Get your flathead screwdriver. If you can't, like this, these are aftermarket covers I found on eBay because I lost one. It's really weird. And then I had to go find something. And again, long story, not important. So there's the inside of your brakes right there. Yep. All right, here we go. So we have that off. We've taken our cover off, right? And you see you got a pin in here. So this is a cotter pin. This pin right here. And this pin, you can see it. I'm still working this camera, but you can see it. That pin is what holds this pin And this is the pin that goes through the brake pads. Remember the hole I was showing you? That's it. That's what holds the brake pads in place. You're going to grab. Sometimes it comes out real easy, like that. You get lucky. So, put that in there. Hold on to that. Now, I know that with Harley brake pads, they give you a free one of those. So, that's nice. But, I hold on to mine because my other brake pads don't do that. I have to get one. And then, what you need to get is, for you V-Riders playing at home, this is a 5mm hex head for the brake caliper. Might be same for other Harleys. Again, I don't know. I only know mine. Your trusty socket wrencher. Loosen that up. Ugh. Always easier said than done. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Mom! It's so tight. Use your whole body. If you have to. You know, some of us are girls. Some of us don't have upper arm strength. It's okay. We'll get there. And once you break it, there it goes. Got a little trick here. I'm going to show you guys a little trick I learned after years. Because you can't grab this and it's loose. And you're like, oh, my fingers, I can't spin it. Take the bit off the socket wrench. Look, just spin it on out. Whee! There it goes. Camera hates the focus. That's fine. You guys get it. Oh, Jesus. Sometimes it's super long. You see that? Let's see if I can show you here. Yeah. See, it's kind of dusty. So, a little dusty. But we'll get to cleaning some stuff next in a second here. So now you have your pin out. Don't pop out those brake pads just yet. Because here's the trick. And I thank another YouTuber for this one. Because I'm going to regret this. But if you can see here, there's 4 little circles in there, right? Those are your actual pistons. There's 2 on each side. That's what squeezes the brake pads together and grips the rotor when you squeeze your brake lever. But with old pads, they get closer and closer and closer together. So what you have to do before you put new pads in is push those back out. This is one reason why you took the cover off your fluid reservoir. The coolest thing that I saw from a fellow YouTuber is use the old brake pads. You're gonna throw them away. You don't need them. So this is where that flathead comes into play. Flathead screwdriver. Flathead screwdriver. Then you're going to stick them in there and you're going to take them and just start, you're going to start pushing. You're going to start pushing those things in. And pushy, 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 push. Push them. And the thing is, old brake pads, because don't do this with the new brake pads because you'll scratch them and they won't work. Let's put it that way. These you're going to throw in the trash anyway, so you can do whatever you need to do. But just, you're going to keep pushing those pistons until they're flat. And that's something you learn from experience. Because one day I'm like, oh yeah, these are in just fine. They're not. I had to put the old brake pads back in because I couldn't get it on my thing. And also, this will happen too. They will kind of come out a little bit. And you got to try to get them back in. It's a little bit of a fight. But trust me, it's the easiest way to do it without damaging anything but the old brake pad. And I'll probably edit this for time. Okay, when you feel like you've pushed them back as far as you can push them, I mean, they should look pretty flat.
You'll find out when you put the new ones on and can't get them on the rotor. That's the worst thing. Just wiggle them out because now your pin's gone and all stuff. They were probably wiggling a lot when you were doing that and driving you nuts. You see how scratched they are now? You see that? Oop, there you go. See how scratched they are? Yeah, you don't want to put those back on. But now they're great for things like, fixing that thing. Now wiggle those out. It should look pretty flat in there. Pretty. See, can you see a good shot? Yeah, look at that. You can see those are your pistons right there. Right there. There's two on the other side too. Ooh, learning so much. All right. Cleaning, brake dust, some stuff. What you want to do, don't let your caliper hang because it's going to hang off the brake line and that'll pull tension on it. And then you really do have to go to the dealership and get that all fixed. And nobody wants that, so I keep a bungee cord handy just in case I have to walk away. See, bungee cord right there. Whoop. So then I can float it, and it just hangs out right there. Just be careful with your paints and stuff. Okay, so here's your cotter pin that holds your caliper pin in. Like I said, I think with HD brake pads, if you get dirty from them, you get a fresh one of these. Now they're metal, so unless they're broken or damaged or things like that, you probably really don't need to get a new one or hunt one down. I did have to replace the one on my rear brake because it got a little worn. Didn't look super bad, but it's my brake, so I want to keep it on. So you're going to take this contact cleaner. And like I said, I did some reading, and right now brake cleaner terrifies the crap out of me. Yeah, it'll clean brakes, but it'll destroy your tires, your paint, your everything else around it. So is it really worth it? I don't think so. But give it a good spray so it flies away. There you go. Might clean the grease off your hands too. Oh look, just a little bit. Just a little. Not really. I'm lying. But contact cleaner, we talked about that. That soak on there for a little bit and just should rub a lot of the brakes. Like I said, these had a lot of brake dust and I did not like them. Super dusty. Then I'll clean the residue off of there. They're not going to sparkle like your crystals or anything like that. They're just going to take the dust off. Also, it doesn't need to sparkle, but there you go. Give them a good rub down clean there. Some people are not used to spray chemicals like that. Open a door window. So when my husband comes home and asks me if I was getting high, I said, no, honey, he's using contact cleaner, not getting a contact high. But there you go. This is a little bit cleaner. At least the superficial dust is off there. See if I can scratch some off. Yeah, that's all. That's all up in there. So there you go. Those are clean. So, and it's pretty easy. Like I said, it's only 2 pieces. You can use that contact cleaner in your rotors, like spray it on a rag and then just spin your rotor through the rag 3 times. But I need to. Every once in a while doesn't hurt, right? Okay. All right, so ready to put new brake pads in. Now, I love my trusty service manual because it takes me forever to find torque settings. But everywhere they say, make sure you put them in the same way you took them out. It's like, well, I only have one stinking way to go. So make sure you do the same orientation, left and right, because the pins basically got to go through the same side. All right. So that's, I would hope that's common sense, but, And sometimes it takes some wiggling. And then actually I should use gravity in my favor and do the other one first. Because then I can see that better. And the other one won't be landing on top of it while I'm trying to get that in there. Let's make sure you guys can see what the hell I'm doing. Because I can't. Just kidding. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Get it in there eventually. Where are you? There's the hole. Okay. That's why I need to see where my hole is. Get that. There's a spring. That's why. It's always the spring that gets me. Nabatu. Yeah, make sure the grippy parts, facing each other right there. Let's see here. I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna get that in there. Same idea. That lined up. Come on. You know you want to. You'll see it in there. Okay. Should be able to see them too when you look in here. You'll see them. Holes line up. And then your pen will also help you line up. Got it in my metal dish. I was looking for a second. Now usually what I like to do is I get this in and then it'll help get everything straightened out, hopefully. Check those. Yep. And same trick. If you haven't misplaced your X bolt, let's get that in. Just get it started. Don't even really tighten it. Just enough to get it started. Now this is a good time. Make sure you can get it on the brake rotor. Let's see if we can do this without too much drama so you can see what's happening here. Okay, with that brake out of the way. I'm going to try to make sure this sits on the rotor. Yeah, that's mad. Oh, went on perfectly. Guess what that means? My pistons are in the right place. Okie dokie. Now, what you want to do is, now you know that's that fits in rotor. Take that out. So what we're going to do is, now actually get that as tight as you can. Your caliper pin, that is. Caliper pin. And that down. Like so. Again, here comes trusty bungee cord. Okay, so best plan of action here, because you need some leverage, is to, I would sit it on the rotor. Alright, put your bolts in just to get your leverage. You're going to take these out again in a second. Actually, you can put your thing so it's not in the way. Ah, there you go. Hello? There it is. I found it. Okay, there's that there. Put the second one there. Come on. You'll find it. It's in there somewhere all the time. And remember too, when you have your bolts out and all that stuff, inspect them for dents in the threads or something like that, because then that's how they get stripped and things get broken and things don't tighten down, and then you're just really upset about it and it's terrible. Let's see if we can get a better angle here. Do a little. There we go. That's some stuff. That's the stuff. You're looking great, Duchess. Looking great. Okay. So where your handy torque wrench comes into play. Torque wrench. Your torque settings. Sorry about my lack of camera skills. Let's see if we can get this on here. So this particular torque is, there you go, torque settings. Get your torque settings. Get them set correctly for everything. So the torque settings on the V-rod for the caliper pin are between 75 and 102 inches. Now my torque wrench is feet, so I have to use the calculator on my phone. 102 inches is 8.5 feet, 8.5 foot-pounds. I put 8 because that's the max, right? 102 was the max, 8.5. 8 was good. So I have that on there just to help you, and then make sure it's in the right place. You gotta listen for that click when you use a torque wrench. I think I heard it. Now, sometimes you don't hear it. I am queen of not hearing the click. Ask my husband. So, sometimes I just go and reset. Maybe I saw another trick that said loosen it a little bit, but get in there and start. Yep, it's a little quiet click. Sometimes the lower settings I find have a really quiet click. It's not helpful. I used to do audio for a living. I can't hear anything. So, if you're clever and flexible, what's the word I'm looking for? If you can do it, maybe without having to take all your pins back out again, you could put your caliper pin, cotter pin. What do they call it? Let's see here. Caliper pin retaining clip. I'm going to do this thing again. Let's see if we can. Oh, I had it. Caliper pin retaining clip. Booyah. All right. Back to this. All right. Stick that thing in there. As you can see, it comes because it goes up, clip right up to the close to where thing it is, and that faces out. Make sure it's in there. It's a clip. Yep, cool. It's like a spring action, so if you tug on it, oh, it'll come out because it's a spring action. But and it's okay if you got to take it back out to do it. Take it back out to do it. Who cares? Well, nobody's judging you. You're in your own garage, house, wherever, living room, wherever you're choosing to do these things. Here's your cover. Or here's my cover. Take some of that rag and clean some of that stuff off of it, but that's fine. Get your cover back on there. Now, using the same technique, I'm going to take my 12-bit foot and just get this tightened kind of by hand. Be easier on a torque wrench, easier on you. If at any time you're tightening something and it feels funny, it's not going right, take it out. Again, check the threads. Make sure they're not bent or warped or chipped or anything. And if you take it out and there's nothing wrong, that's me. It just was cross-setting. You stopped it from getting bad. You can probably still use it. Just if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. It's good advice. Trust me. So I got those finger tight now. Then put that on my torque wrench. Now my torque wrench settings for these, they are called the mounting bolts. Mounting bolts. Lower mounting bolt, upper mounting bolt. Look at my trusty service manual. I just had it. Between 32 and 38 foot-pounds. Now that means 32 is the minimum, 38 is the maximum. So I like to hover right in the middle. So let's find 32. Wait, let's find 30 first. Jeez. 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. Nope, that's not it. Getting closer. Oh, 30. Okay. 32 and 38. 35 is between 32 and 38. They give you that range because obviously there's a too much and there's too little. But there's always like a safe area. So I'm hanging with 35. Pretty sure I've done that before. Make sure it's on righty tighty. Again, wait for the click. Wait for the click. Now, my service manual recommends, let's see, tighten the bottom one first, they say. And this is kind of long, so I have to make sure I have clearance. That's a click. See, I heard it, that one. Told you. If it's higher, you can hear it. Okay, and now the top. That's a click. See? Done. Boom. Brake pads. Now I have to go do the other side, which I won't bore you with. Okay? Okay. right, so now you're done, you're all cleaned up. Make sure that you pump your brakes. Before you move it, pump your brakes because you want to make sure you get your grab back. Remember how we push those pistons out to put the pads in? Well, now they got to sit in the perfect position, push the pads back to the rotor is what you're doing. So when you have your grab, because when you roll this off, you're going to need your brakes. And everybody's instinct is to use that front brake, so you want to make sure it's there so your bike doesn't roll into your garage door. Good tip, right? Okay, and then also, after you pump your brakes too, check your fluid level. I can't speak for all bikes. I know Duchess here is, all the dots, the handlebars have to be upright to check the levels. We got markers. So you want to make sure that you have your level, because if you don't, then you got to put it back on the chock, get it level, or get somebody in your house to hold it for you while you put more brake fluid in. So once you've got all that done, this can be the fun, hard part. Now, I got strong legs, and this is a very low heavy bike, low center of gravity. This is after a few times that I've done this, now I got a better grip on it. Don't get discouraged. Like I said, if you have some weights on your chock, this will be easier. If you have a 200 plus person in your house, this will also be easier. Either they can stand, sometimes my husband will actually stand there and push on the forks for me, but a lot of times he's not home when I'm doing stuff, so I have to be innovative. Boom, bag of rocks. And a jerky motion. Remember, don't jerk with your back. Alright, ready? And make sure your clutch is in because you're probably in gear, and comedy will ensue. And let's see. Usually it's 3 for me. 1, 2, 3. I was right. 3. It's like a Tootsie Pop. Make sure you put your kickstand out. Boom, off the chock. So my next advice to you is to take your bike out around the block. Check your brakes, make sure they're working, make sure they're grabbing. You know, stay in your neighborhood, stay in a safe area. You know, if you did everything right, everything should be cool. If you're worried about it, anything, come back, put it back in the chock. Just check all your settings and everything. If you're really freaking out, take it to your service person. It's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. Okie dokie, brakes, done. Time to go ride.